What did I just watch? What's happening? Who is a Skrull? Is everyone really dying? I have a lot of questions. Spoiler warning. Because the first thing I want to talk about, spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. If you're watching this and this gets spoiled for you, I said spoiler warning, so you better listen to me. What did Nick Fury say in this episode? Oh, this isn't a negotiation. This isn't a negotiation, because I need to talk about, did Gaia just die? What just happened? What is happening with this show? I feel like every episode is just building more and more, and I was worried that the middle of this show was going to be a little boring. And now I'm like, oh, it's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep escalating to the point that I'm questioning if I'm a Skrull because I am losing my mind with what's happening in the series. Wow. I really liked this episode, clearly. I am very surprised by some of the moves they've been making. I like that it's kind of keeping me on my toes a bit with stuff. And goodness, this was a great episode for just Mendelsohn and Jackson together playing off each other. Really, really, really fun stuff. I think that was my favorite thing in this episode. Very interested to see what happens with Fury's wife in the next episode, because what a gosh darn cliffhanger that is. I'm thinking they're gonna use her to, I think, try to kill him, but I just can't imagine that she's going to want to do that, because it's still her husband, and it's very clear to me that she still really loves him. Their whole conversations and dynamics is weird, man, but I feel it. I like it. I love how she gave him a whole, basically they just come back together as soon as he comes home, which happened at the end of the last episode. They have this cute romantic moment that we saw, and then it's, oh, Nick Fury's wife, oh, of course, and then we immediately go into, so like, where have you been for years? Because you've been in space and you didn't even think to come back to me, and I understood you abandoning me when you died during the blip and you disappeared. And then I got over that, and then you returned, and I was hype, and then you just literally left me by choice. And then, like, they finish the conversation, she immediately gives him a kiss, and then it's going back to, like, la 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 la. And I'm like, is this just how their life is? I want a show that's like a sitcom that's just, what's her name, Vera or Scylla, and Fury, and it's just their life, like, as a married couple, like, she's a Skrull, he's a secret agent, man. It's time for, well, I guess she's also a secret agent too, but she's a Skrull, he's a human. They're both spies. What will happen? Welcome to the the Fury family show. What a fun time it would be. Someone make that series. That can be WandaVision season 2. We just follow different couples and their weird dynamics. Marvel, if you're listening, you can have that pitch for free. Just give me a part in it and I will allow you to steal that idea. I think it's brilliant. Anyways, back to this. So that whole dynamic is really weird between them, but I did really enjoy it and think it was interesting, clearly. And I'm interested to see how that'll play into episode 3. So this episode is called Betrayal. And now it's very clear because obviously his wife has kind of betrayed him. But he also kind of betrayed her when he literally dipped to space for years, in a way. So it's kind of fair trade, but I think she might come back around if her mission is to kill Fury. So yeah, that was a pretty shocking and interesting thing that happened in this episode. I still can't believe that we got through them not having that missile launch. I liked how Gravik tried to like save face too, being like, oh, you thought what I was trying to do was start World War III, but really I just wanted to find out who among us was the traitor, and it's looking like you, Gaia. Because I was just like, yo, you're telling me you definitely wanted that to happen, but you were like, hey, if it doesn't happen, it'll still play into my hands, and we can always do that after I figure out who the traitor is. So well played, Gravik, but don't pretend that was your plan all along, because I don't believe you. I'm gonna call BS there a little bit. I also really liked the scene with Gravik and Talos where they're just kind of having this chat off at like a museum where they're just talking at each other and trying to be like, who is the better leader? And yeah, who should actually be leading the Skrulls? Who knows more? Who is the Skrull master? Who knows the most? And the answer, I think, here is, well, definitely, I think we're supposed to think Talos is the better leader, but I will say, Gravik just makes a lot of really good power plays. And, like, obviously, I want the humans to live. I think that's what I'm supposed to want. So, I do want Talos to win, but I kind of hope we can do something with Gravik, because although I think he's heading in the wrong direction with this, he seems like he's really good at being a bad guy, which means he could be really good at being a good guy. You know what I mean? I was kind of wondering if in this episode Beto actually might be Hulkling, but that seems unlikely. Oh, but other Easter eggs, speaking of that, the conversation that happens between Gravik and Talos at the sort of cafe in the museum, which I already knew a bunch of people were going to turn into Gravik because I recognized that background from the trailer. Kind of wish I didn't see that in the trailer, but anyways. They're having that conversation, and, you know, Gravik's like, well, what about, like, your daughter? Like, you can't, your daughter is not even with you, and she's helping me out, and she turned her back on you, so what does that say? And he's like, I could, like, also, like, kill her, and then Talos is like, you don't do that, because you don't want to mess with me. Which I feel like might be coming next episode if Guy is really dead. I'm hoping she's not and she can somehow heal, because what we also saw in this episode was Gravik get stabbed in the hand, pulls his hand out, and he heals. Now, I think Skrulls do have some kind of healing factor. I mean, I know they do in the comics, but in the MCU, I don't really remember if they do or not. So I'm actually wondering if this is just a Skrull ability, or if this is being showcased to show us that Gravik's already like a super Skrull, like you talked about in this episode. Also, guess what? Super Skrulls, which I called last episode, but yeah, Super Skrulls. Very exciting.
The Skrull Queen will be quite pleased.
So my question was that normal? Also, his hand kind of glows red. It kind of looked like Johnny Storm to me. Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. Just his hand and the way it glowed and everything. However, am I getting a little too focused on Easter eggs? Because I feel like I am, and that's dangerous. Because I don't want the Marvel Cinematic Universe to break my heart with this. And if the Fantastic Four are in here, please just give them to me. I don't want my hopes to get too high, because I feel like, look, guys, I feel like as MCU fans, we have a tendency to get carried away. And so I don't want us to do that, because I want us to actually enjoy what we're getting in the show, because there's a lot of great stuff. However, I've heard other people talking about this. I talked about this last episode too. I'm just getting Fantastic Four vibes. But I don't know if that's wishful thinking or if I'm really picking up on stuff. Because I feel like, yeah, I need to look into the Easter eggs more. But that was the only thing that I really noticed in this. I'm just wondering if there's more hints they're leaving for me. If that's true, and there's like millions of them, then we're probably getting them. But if it's just a few things here and there and they're loose and we're not really sure, let's just not get our hopes too high. But also, Fantastic Four would be so cool! Okay, anyways, so that's basically what I feel like I took away from this episode. To give you a brief summary before I go, because I didn't really do that. I was kind of talking about many different scenes that happened. This episode is a lot of people talking around each other and using their words almost as weapons. Also, some people do get shot. But mostly the words as weapons, I would say. A bit of political stuff happening that I think is really fun and interesting, and also develops the relationships with the characters. Fury, we find out more about his relationship with his wife. He goes back to Talos and apologizes so that he'll join him to basically take down this sub that's supposed to launch a missile, which will start World War III. He calls in a favor from Sonya. They go to deal with that. And in the interim, in and around this, Gravik's working his plans, and Gaia's trying to not get caught as the traitor, which in the end, she actually does have to help her dad getting him the code so he can stop the sub. And Talos actually shoots another Skrull, and then basically Gaia gets caught. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. We end it with Fury's wife, who is a Skrull, going to a safety deposit box to check it, and inside an envelope is a gun. And then she gets a call, and we find out she is working for Gravik, and she's been told to go to a church at a certain time. With, I'm assuming, the gun. So that's basically where we leave it. I'm very excited to watch the next episode. I hope you are too. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments. Let me know if you think anyone in the series, or there were moments where other people were Skrulls and not who we thought they were. And let me know if you think Gaia's dead. Can't be true. All right, I'll see you next episode, friends. Until then, stay nerdy. Bye.